Boo! For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. For those of you that have seen my stuff, welcome back. Giving a preseason update on sort of kind of everything that's been going on. So for those of you that are new to the channel, the vehicles in which we have a 2024 Toyota GR Corolla. I'm currently wearing a shirt from someone who drifts one, Brian Shirt, Formula Drift, amazing driver. And then we also have a 1990 Nissan Skyline GTR R32. Those of you that are returning to the channel, you know that R32 has not ran in roughly about 2 years. I'm not sure if it's 2 years to the date, but it's as of March, if not really early April, 2 years. So giving some updates, or the full updates on what's been going on with that car. So I found out that I blew cylinder 6. I did not know that at the time. It hadn't ran. I assumed that I blew the twins that were on it. I wanted to go big single turbo anyway. So the first thing I did, went online, went to Spectrum Racing products, and I went and bought a 65 mil big single turbo kit. Got that back, looked up some videos. I couldn't find any videos on how to do the swap. That was fine. I was going to be the first one to make a video. That video is on my page further back. You can go look at it if you want to. There are a couple of ones of me actually trying to get the stock stuff off and then putting the new stuff on. I was able to get a successful startup, so that's good. I am proud of myself that I was able to do that and make it where I did. What I did not know is it was not the twins that were blown. It was actually cylinder 6, as I said before. We're going to adjust the camera a little bit. So yeah, cylinder 6 was blown, and the reason why I found this out is I actually, every year I've gone to Formula Drift St. Louis, and I went again last year in 2023. That's also St. Louis is where the broker that I work with, where I got my R32 GTR is from, and I was just chatting with him. I was like, hey, I haven't been out there, and at that time it was roughly 2 years because I bought my car from him roughly 3 years ago now. Well, it will be 3 years in October. No, the car wasn't bad when I bought it from him. It was perfectly fine. I was the one that blew the twins on it. So that's another story. I can talk more about that later on. But so I was just like, hey, I haven't seen you in a few years. Going to stop by to see what you have, et cetera, et cetera. And he had informed me that he was about to get a brand new R32 in, from a really well-known, reputable builder. His name is Midwest Skyline. And this GTR was built for, what is it? It's capable of 950 wheel, but it's currently at like 650 because it's detuned because of the turbo. But if you swap out the turbo, you're perfectly fine to go up to about 950 or so. So he was telling me about that, and I was extremely interested, but I was like, you know what, I'm not in the market right now. I appreciate it, but no. Went to Formula Drift, stopped by, saw him, and then he actually told me, like, yeah, if you wanted to trade yours in on this. I was like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. Side note, I had told him everything that was wrong with the car because we're buddies now, so I was keeping him updated. He knew everything that I'd done to the car, what was in it, et cetera, et cetera. He knew everything. So he also knew that it did not run at this point. At this point, that's all I knew. I thought I blew the twins. I told him I blew the twins, aka the knowledge in which I knew, he knew. So we got the numbers figured out roughly before we finalized the deal, sent the car over to him, and he went to go check it out, had it sent to his mechanics to do a final check over to make sure that we were sort of kind of both understanding as far as everything that was going on with our GTR, the one that we currently still have. He got back to me and told me that he actually sent me a video, so I'll be able to put that video on here as well. He told me that it was not the twins that were blown because by this time I'd already swapped over to a single turbo kit, the Spectrum Racing 65 mil. And I just thought it was, I just needed to redo some, not wiring, possible wiring for the gauge cluster, but I just thought I needed a tune and just needed to route some hoses. He asked me if I had done a compression test. I had not. I told him that. He had them do a compression test. He sent me back a video of 0 compression on cylinder 6. 1 through 5 had compression. 6 didn't. That's the video in which I'm going to put up here. And then later on, we actually got pictures of why that is. I'll put those up as well. But so yeah, that's what we found out immediately. I was sort of kind of mad, not at him, at myself. I was the one that blew the engine. It was perfectly fine. And then, grenaded it. So by that time, once again, I'd already been by his shop because I sent the car back over there after I'd gotten home, or rather after my wife and I got home because she went with me that year. So I knew that he had already had 3 built RBs in his shop. So I talked to him about those, got some more information. We told him, okay, if the car's already with you, go ahead, have your mechanics drop in one of those built RBs. I decided on which one. And then so we started working on that. When they got our engine out of the car, went to go start doing the swap, we found out immediately, hey, both your front axles are bad. So you need 2 brand new front axles. Okay, perfect. And it was hard to find new front axles because all the front axles are 1,000 wheel horsepower rated. And I had been informed I don't really need that, especially for the horsepower figures in which I was going for. Especially once you look at the splits in which you typically send to the front on those cars, you're not going to be seeing that. And then so I was trying to find something a little bit better. Just, it's nice to overbuild, but at the same time, there's a slight limit on what you need, what's overbuild and what's overkill. Couldn't find anything, and everything that I did find had incredibly long lead times. Luckily, there was actually someone, his name is Tyler. He's the owner of a shop called Slideworks up in Canada. He does a lot of drifting and stuff. He had actually told me, because I reached out on the forums and just asked for some general help, that he actually was starting to carry front right and front left R32, 32, R32, 33, and 34 front axles, which was perfect because that's what I needed. Yes, you can find the right ones pretty easily, but the left one is the one that's a lot harder to find. So not only was I able to get those from him, I was actually able to get those at a lot cheaper price point than everything else was, because everything else is 1,000 wheel horsepower rated stuff, which once again, I did not need by any means. And those run roughly 2,500-ish per set, whereas the ones I was able to get from him, I think currently he has them listed at $658.50, like $658.58, minus shipping and handling and stuff, etc., etc. We ran into some issues getting that done. He was an amazing person to work with. The issues in which I ran into were not because of him, and he actually did a really good job getting everything sorted, and then went above and beyond on, once again, just carrying out the corrections in which he did, and then sending us some extra stuff just to make up for the problems in which we had ran into. So shout out to him on that. A huge, big thank you. The other thing we ran into was we found out that we needed all new motor mounts. That one wasn't, really wasn't that bad. They just went ahead and ordered them. That was fine. After that, the mechanic that was in St. Louis, well, he was outside of St. Louis. He was working on this as a side project, not in his shop, but more so at home. Whenever he got home, he'd work on this. And then at his shop, he worked for a few professional drivers. Well, he worked on a few professional drivers' cars. So whenever the racing season ended, and they needed their cars worked on and or checked over, theirs sort of kind of took precedent over mine. Understandably, they're high-end people. They have a lot more deadlines they need to hit, and once again, they're going through him to his main business, not on the side like mine was. Perfectly understandable. So he informed me, hey, it's going to be a while before I can get to this. If you're fine with it, I'm going to deload this and put it on someone else. If whatever. Which I did not mind at all. So we then moved the car from him to Midwest Skyline, which is where it's currently at now. Midwest Skyline has built a lot of cars. The one I said earlier, he built that one. He is 2023, it was October, I think. He actually set the North American record for highest horsepower RV. I think it was before nitrous. It was like 1407 wheel or something, just something ridiculous. He's been on 1320 video a few times. He went to, GTR Fest last year and qualified second right behind, I don't remember the name of the GTR from Australia. So once again, sort of kind of speaking to his credibility. I see him working on RBs all the time, and they're all coming out amazing, and that's all he really touches for the most part. So I already knew about his work and everything. I'd been in contact with him for about a year and a half already. Anyway, just in general stuff, parts, some advice, because once again, I was new to the RP platform anyway, and he's the go-to guy. So if I can reach out to him, I'm going to. So we ended up actually having my car moved over to him. And then when it got to him, we ran into several issues. Once again, he wasn't the cause of these issues. He was actually able to find them and helped us get through them and everything. So some of the issues we ran into the water pump was not sealed. So whenever he went to go do the first start, we had to, he had all the coolant dumped out because the water pump was not sealed. Once again, something not on him. That was on the engine before it got to him. Not necessarily any other mechanic either, just sort of kind of, some other stuff, could be transit, etc., etc. Plus, once again, you're moving a car from one mechanic to another. You're not exactly sure what all information gets transpired and passed between the two. So all the coolant dumped out. I just got a video of the car, so let's actually see what this is. It's probably going to be a first start if I had to guess. Yes, indeed it is. He literally, Midwest Skyline literally just sent me a video of the first start of the car, and I'm kidding you not. I'm going to cover up his name. Oh, I don't need Snapchat. Go ahead. So literally just now sent me a video of the first start of this car. Technically this is the second, because I'll talk about the first start itself in a little bit, but I'll play this video so I can stop putting it on my headphones, play it out loud. There you have it. First official start of this car. Extremely excited. You can see it through the joy in my face, especially as I'm recording the video, giving the update. That's exactly what I needed right now. So anyways, I don't remember where I was at. I honestly don't. Hopefully I can connect it. But some of the issues we ran into, yes, water pump, that's right. So the coolant dumped out, and then he had to clean that up. He also then had to go back and RTV the water pump. So that, took a few days to see, or a day or two, whatever, to seal and fully dry. And then he went back, started up. Guess what? Found out that there's a hole in the intercooler. So he was able to weld that up, get that fixed and everything. And then what else was it? He went and did in addition to that, we found out that we had a misfire. At first, we thought the misfire was from the injectors, so he went and checked all the injectors, because at the time I was running 1200cc injectors. It was not the injectors that was the problem. I did have some 2150s in the trunk. If I said 2150s the first time, I meant to say 1200 cc's. I had some 2150cc injectors in the trunk. So I told him, just go ahead and swap over to those. Once again, those are mine as well. He put those in, no problem. Wired them up perfectly fine. But the misfire was still there. So we weren't sure what it was, and he was just updating me. He's like, hey, if it's not, your coil packs and not your coil packs and spark plugs, it's mechanical. Of course I freaked out, because I'm like, I didn't build this engine. He didn't build this engine. So I'm not exactly sure, what that means. Mechanical, is it engine related? Is it something else? Yada, yada, yada. So that was Thursday. He told me that. Friday, last week Friday, today's Monday. Last week Friday, he's chasing it down all day. End of the day, 8:30 p.m. Once again, that just shows how long this dude actually works on these cars. It's literally what he does. He's dedicated to his craft. So 8:30 p.m., I get a text from him. Hey, found out what it was. Misadjusted throttle bodies. Okay, perfect. Sigh of relief, gone. So that day he didn't actually get to the idle tune, which is, what the video is. He just sent me the idle tune and everything. It's, firing up perfectly fine. So I'm like, no problem. I told him, I'm like, the car's in the hands of the best person in the U.S. that can be building this. Whether it take months to get back or tomorrow, I don't care. It's with you. If it's taking a while, I know it's because you're doing it right. So he actually, obviously, once again, the video did that today. Prior to that, prior to the first startup, when he put the engine in the car, I should have said this earlier, we had an issue with the wiring harness. So the wiring harness had been hacked up a little bit from when we were changing different stuff. Plus, the car was worked on before me. It had, apparently the old engine, the one I blew, also had work done to it, and it was not stock by any means. So I believe the people before me actually raced the car based upon how it was set up, but I'm not 100% sure. But either way, that wiring harness was cut up and had a lot of stuff done to it. So we assumed it was wiring harness, which, once again, understandable. I would have assumed the same thing. I'd already had a few different wiring harnesses looked up and pulled up so that way I could order them later on, because I was hoping that I'd be able to get by with this engine swap and then change it, next winter. So ordered a new wiring harness, had it sent to him, put that one in. Hey, he told me he was wrong. It wasn't the wiring harness, it was the ECU. At the time I was running an AM ECU, the Series 2, the ECU, AM Black Series 2 ECU. I've been told that they often do have issues as far as with faulty grounds and stuff, et cetera, and that every now and then if it gets bad enough when you start the car, it'll actually wipe the tune. I was thinking, not me, not my ECU, everyone else's maybe, not mine. It happened to mine. So I am now running a Haltech Platinum Pro ECU that I had sent to him. He was able to get that in, get everything he needed to get done. And then he, corrected some of the stuff that from the other wiring harness, because he told me, he's like, hey, I was wrong about that. It was the ECU, not the wiring harness. So here's your stuff back for that, et cetera. Once again, I didn't necessarily care about that because I needed a new wiring harness anyway for the main engine at least. So we're perfectly fine. Love that. Because we're better off anyway. So that happened. What's some other stuff that went wrong? With the horsepower figures in which we were at, he told me that it was good to go ahead and put in a Tesla ETS all-wheel drive controller. Luckily, from already being in previous talks with him, once again, the year and a half before, I had one, and not just one, the exact one in which he wanted. So I literally went to my garage, grabbed it, took a picture, sent it to him, sent the picture to him, and then the next day just overnight aired the all-wheel drive controller to him. So once again, that's another goodie that's going to be in there. So I'm excited about that as well. That just allows me to control the splits of the all-wheel drive. So that way I'm in direct control of it. So that'll be pretty good, actually. Some of the other stuff that we ran into, let me scroll up in our chat, see what all we're missing. Blow-off valves. So those of you that have seen this car, they had HKS blow-off valves in it. They sounded amazing. It sounded like birds chirping the whole entire time. It sounded amazing. I loved it. But I did want to get away from them. So he actually fabbed up a kit for that, which, I'm grateful for that because he was able to work around it rather than just band-aiding it like I sometimes try and do, so that way I can fix it later just to get by that one step. Let's see what else. I needed an oil catch can. I knew that going into it. I was planning on, because most people put their battery and they reroute their battery, put their battery in the trunk, and then they put their oil catch can on the right side of the car. I'm not using driver and passenger because it's right-hand drive. And once again, some people don't know that, so you always have to remember. So on the front right-hand side of the car, they often put their oil catch can there, and it bolts up really nicely. For me, that's where my battery still currently is. Battery, I'm going to talk about that later. So he actually fabbed up one that goes on the left-hand side, which is perfect because that's actually what I was going to look at. I was going to look at an oil catch can kit that goes to the left-hand side because I'd already removed my windshield wiper fluid reservoir because I'm just going to use, not ceramic. I'm just going to basically Rain-X and ceramic coat and stuff the windshields. That way that's not really an issue. I've never had too many problems with it before anyway. So that'll be a nice problem to avoid. And then once again, with the stuff that he did, I'm going to love it anyway. Battery. When the car got moved, we actually forgot the battery in transit. So he ordered me. I'm currently running a Prius yellow top battery. So if you ever need a battery for your R32 GTR, that's a good one to go for because he's the one that actually recommended it. So shout out to him on that. He helped me out with a lot of stuff because rather than me having to do my own research on the fly really fast to find out some stuff, he was just telling me. And once again, he's like, I already have one. I can do this, and then just you pay me on the back end, etc. Send what you need to. As far as some other stuff goes, I thought that I had all 3 fuel pumps in my car because I was running a French's, what is it? French's Performance Garage, I believe. They're out of Australia. I had got a triple fuel pump kit from them to replace the stock one that I had. And I got stuff to run 3 Walbro 460s. Little did I know I only put one of those 460s in the car when I sent it out. So when it got to him, he only had one. He was like, "Hey, are you the one that ordered this kit?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I told him it's a kit for 3, but I thought I had all 3 in there. He's like, "Yeah, no, it only has one." I'm like, if it only has one, that means the other 2 are with me. So luckily, he already had 2 more, so he threw those in. I told him I'll bring mine over when I pick up the car. We're all square. I'll trade those off perfectly fine. Um, Once again, I already talked about the blow off valve stuff. I talked about the oil catch can stuff. The next thing was I love the Heika system in the car. Mine actually works, so it has a really nice feel to it. And from the Chrysler and different stuff I had done, autocross, drifting in the snow, drifting on asphalt in the Chrysler, et cetera, I'm already used to the back end of the car being slightly out a little bit. It's a weird feeling, but if you're used to it and you know you're under control, it's perfectly fine. Um, and sometimes when I was driving, the Heika system sort of kind of felt like that. As it was going around the corner, the way that it was cornering, it sort of kind of felt like the back end was actually starting to do that thing where it sort of kind of rotates out from underneath you a little bit. So at the speeds I was going, it actually felt very weird because I typically at those speeds, when you're in control, you don't really feel that. But once again, having that experience, I already knew what that feeling was. It just took me about another, I think, 2 months of driving the car to actually realize that was the Heika system actually putting its work in. So I did love the way that thing worked, but I'd already heard some horror stories about that. A buddy of mine, Levi, his broke and it pulled him off the road. So I knew that it could go bad. I just knew that it was more so not a if, it was a when. That's what everyone told me. But once again, I loved mine and I didn't want to have to get rid of it. One of the things that I'm wondering now is if I can get one of the electric ones from the R33s, R34s, and possibly do a conversion kit for mine to bring it back. But he told me he highly recommends doing not the ETS, the Heika system delete. So I told him just go ahead and do it. He got the stuff for that. Pretty much every time he sent me a text and there were options, there was the option I was at or the option I wanted to go with, and the option he wanted me to go at slash the option both of us knew we should go with. So it also started with, hey, your Heika system, do you want it? Do you want to get rid of it? I'm like, do I want it? Yes. Based upon the text in which you just sent me, do I think I should get rid of it, and or is it a good idea to? Yes. I know you're probably recommending for me to get rid of it, so just go ahead and do it. And so pretty much everything he sent me was that. Once again, the 1200 cc injectors and the 2150s was the exact same thing. He sent me a text. He's like, "Hey, do you want to run these 2150s that you have in the trunk, or do you want to run these 1200 cc injectors that you have in the car?" I'm like, "Run the 1200s. They're already in the car. If they're fine, they're fine. If not, run the 2150s." And then we started finding out that they were going to lean out towards the higher end. For the horsepower numbers in which we wanted to push the car to, we were going to lean out those 1200 cc injectors way before we got there. So he told me that. I'm like, okay, perfect. That's what I figured. Once again, because by this point we already had a history of every time he sends me a text, I should go with the option that's not where I'm currently at. He told me that the information about them leaning out when we get to the high end. So I told him, perfectly fine. I understand. 2150s of mine, go ahead, swap them out. Keep the 1200s if you want, because that spare, I don't think I said this yet, the spare engine in which was in the car, we are planning on getting that back, and I want to build that to about 1,000 or so wheel, if not more. So knowing the fact of what our car is currently going to be at versus where that spare engine I want it to be at, I knew that those 1200 cc injectors were not going to be enough. So I told him, if you can use them for anything else, keep them, they're yours. Because if not, I'm going to get them back. They're going to sit in my garage and do nothing. So pretty much, I think that's about everything that's happened with this car. It's been a long time coming, but we should be getting it back soon. I'm not going to say how soon, one, because I'm not exactly sure. Obviously, with that video of it idling, that should give us a good indication of the fact that we're getting pretty close. But at the same time, I do slightly want that to be a surprise because if there's some people, family members in the area I could surprise, some really close friends. Like for instance, I just mentioned Levi. He no longer has his R32 for various reasons. So there's a few people I would like to surprise with the car if I can, as well as if I could have it as a surprise for the channel. Of course, I am going to. So that's pretty much the gist of everything that had been going on with that, if I remember correctly. Well, the issue with the axles were the manufacturer that sent the axles to the distributor. They sent him the wrong axles. Sadly, Midwest Skyline was the first person to notice that he had got the incorrect axles from the manufacturer through the distributor. So that's what Tyler was working on me with, and he was amazing. He out of pocketed everything just to make up for it, which, you know, I told him by all means, I'm willing to work with you. This wasn't your fault by any means. And as I said earlier, he went above and beyond on everything he did. He corrected stuff, sent out a lot of free stuff as perks. And on top of that, he contacted all his other customers, brought back their stuff, sent them the new stuff way beforehand, checked his whole inventory, everything. And no, this doesn't happen just to him. I literally had the same thing. Oh, I forgot one more thing. I had the same thing happen with PRP. I needed a new alternator because the alternator that was in the car was not strong enough. So I needed to get I think it's an LS. Excuse me. I don't remember if it's an LS2 alternator. The verbiage in which they had on their website. I don't remember if it was an LS2 alternator or just an LS alternator based on what they had. Once again, just the verbiage of their website. The alternators in which they had were incorrect, if I'm remembering correctly, which I believe I am. Let me double check, just to not badmouth them. But the alternators in which they, if I can spell the word correctly, that would help searching a lot. Scroll back up. That's 2. No. So what happened is PRP ran out of alternators a few before mine. So they actually got a shipment in and then they corrected. That's what it was. So PRP, I ordered through them. They ran out of alternators, literally just a few orders before mine. You know, no problem with them. We're all putting them in at the same time. Websites, not, you know, I like the fact that it's not one of the websites like this person just ordered this person just ordered this. That is, I hate those websites. If you have one, that feature needs to go away, please. Anyways, so they ran out of alternators a few orders before mine. Told me, you know, we normally get alternators on Tuesdays or whatever, like twice a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays. This was like maybe Friday I ordered it. So I'm like, all right, perfect. Few days down the road, gonna have an alternator, they're gonna send it out. The alternators they got from their manufacturer, once again, same issue. They were the incorrect alternators. So then they had to send those back, wait for a new batch shipment to be made, get those in, then send those over. So once again, every issue I could have ran into with this car, I have ran into. And hopefully, just to make sure, I don't want to run into any more, hopefully we're past all of them. But yeah, literally every step along the way with this car, I ran into issues, which is perfectly fine because it just teaches me what I need to do for next time. Once again, not only things that I can do beforehand to make sure I have everything to properly build the car and or to have the mechanic be able to properly build the car and diagnose what he needs to, but also just so that way I'm ordering stuff in advance rather than holding back stuff, by holding up other things by having to order them, day of, etc., etc. So like I said, it's been over 2 years since this car is officially ran. Technically, it has ran because I did the swap. I was able to start it. I posted some videos about that. I'll post some of them, or I'll actually overlay some of them on this video so you can hear what some of them sounded like as well. So I was able to get it to fire up. I did the swap. I did everything I needed to. I had the ECU that was in there. I had it going. It was perfectly fine. The tune that was on it was not good at all. I had actually posted the tune that was on the forums to try and get some help. And pretty much all of them were saying, do not start this vehicle. So after that, I did not start that vehicle. I actually had someone from the Dominican Republic reach out to me on Facebook Messenger, and I had no clue who this dude was, but this just sort of kind of goes to show you how tight knit the RB community is. They will look out for each other whenever they can. For free, I'm not going to give up his name because I don't want everyone going to him for no reason. For free, he actually called me, and then I don't remember what the program was that we used. Basically, I just gave him access to the computer over his computer. So as I was doing the tune, or scratch that, as I had the car running, he was actually going through live tuning the car, which I actually posted some videos about that, I believe. If not, I can do some overlays because it's a little bit freaky because you're sitting here with your computer and someone, literally across the world is doing everything. You're just hands off, just, all right, cool. He's just tuning my car. I'm just sitting here watching what he's doing. So he was actually going through, messing with a lot of stuff. That's actually how I found out that I had a wiring and possibly a hose routing issue, because we were having a lot of voltage jumps and a couple different things. At the time, that should have gone ahead and clued me in that I might have had an ECU issue, but it did not, because I was really hoping that I just misran some wires, and that's what I started to chase down later on before I went to look at trading in the car. So he had actually worked on getting a tune for me, and I could not only see, but my wife was in the car with me, and we were able to see the improvements on the screen from the tune that he was putting in, but also hear them immediately in the engine. So that just goes to show, one, how bad the tune that was already on that ECU was, because it was not good at all. And once again, I'm not a tuner, and I was able to see that by pulling up the tune. And then two, just his knowledge and what this community is willing to do for you, and look out for one another with. Because at the end, he told me, he's like, hey, this might be a problem. I'm seeing these voltages jumping around. It could be this or this or this. It could be this, that, or the other. So I told him, I was like, all right, perfectly fine. Thank you. I understand that. I'm going to go back and look into some stuff. And then I'll continue from there. I really appreciated everything he did. I appreciated PRP for what they did with, having to, the alternator deals, and they were in communication with me about that. I appreciate French's Performance Garage, once again, just for having the parts in which they have. I really appreciate Tyler from Slideworks. That's SLIDEWERKZ. Yes, Slideworks with a Z, no space. Really appreciate him for what he did and all the work that he put in. Appreciate my broker. If you are interested in buying any, I think he still has R32s, 33s, 34s, 35s, Aston Martin, Lambo, Ferrari, Rolls Royce, twin turboed, Audi R8s, McLarens. He has a lot of stuff. So if you are a car person and you are genuinely interested in actually getting any of the cars in which I mentioned, and or seeing what he has, and or what he can actually get for you, or if you're trying to sell your car on consignment, or if you're looking to trade in your car on one of those things, if you are trading in your car, he really prefers it to be stock and clean, and or for it to be a really good build with receipts from reputable people, and or the fact that you can just see it's a good build. You can actually check over it and have no issues. So if you're willing to do any of those things, he works at Midnight Motorsport HQ. I'll put the link to where he works to his page. Incredible person. So if you're trying to find any of that stuff, check out his page, see what he has to offer. And once again, incredibly nice people. He is also a car person, and he's just trying to get good cars in the hands of people that are going to treat them right. And that's pretty much what he's trying to do. He's not trying to skew the prices on you a lot and make a lot of money off of you and really screw you over. He just wants good cars to get in the hands of people who are going to treat them right and do them good and make those relationships, so that way he can continue doing stuff like that, which is honestly how I feel that business should be run. If you're a car person and you're in the business, I understand you have to make a living, but at the same time, there's a difference between making a living and screwing someone over, so that way you can be a lot higher than where you want to be in life and stuff. And he's doing stuff the right way, which is why I'm so buddies with him, why I'm always in contact with him and try and see him whenever I go back to St. Louis every year. So yeah, that's pretty much the history of everything that's been going on with the car. And then last shout out, I forgot to say, once again, a really huge thank you to Midwest Skyline for everything that he's been doing with the car. Once again, video earlier shows sort of kind of what all's been going on. And then she's not here. She's currently finishing up work. Huge shout out to my wife for going through all these problems with me, the whole roller coaster of all the issues of, car's good, car's bad, car's moving, etc., etc. Because there are a lot of last minute pop-up things that we needed to order that we were not planning on. And when you're hoping that your car is done and it's holding up some other vehicles, and then you're told, hey, this is a problem, this is bad, you need to order some things, is sort of kind of freak out, especially when you have to do a little bit of research every here and there to figure out some of those things and what you need for your car. It can get stressful, especially once again when you're not able to do those things because you're at work and you want to do it so that way you can order it before you get off work, so that way the places you're ordering it from can send it out that day rather than the next day. Or it starts to get to be a lot. So huge shout out to all those people that helped me along the way, and I really can't wait to get this car back, not only just to show y'all, but have it back for myself, start having it at meets. I'm in talks with having it at some professional events. I'm gonna hold off on saying anything more about that for a while, because one, I want to get the car back. I want to truly see where it's at and make sure it can make the trip in which it's supposed to make for those. And then I still need to talk to those professional drivers as well, and their managers. I've been in talks with them for the past year since some other events in which I went to. So they already know everything. They've told me I just need to reach out to make sure they have the footprint to have my car where it's supposed to be for the stuff in which it's supposed to be there for, about a month or two before the event. So hopefully once I get some stuff concreted on that, I can actually tell you a little bit more. Other than that, if you're in the Iowa area, we're hosting some events at Eddyville Raceway Park. That stuff's on Facebook. Just look it up. They have 4 events. What is it? May, June, July, and then I think there's one in August is the big one. I'm helping them put on all those events. I might be emceeing some of those. Come out and find out a little bit more about that. And then once again, hopefully I should have my GTR there as well. I won't be running any passes. Potentially. Once again, this is the first season I'm going to have the car, so I'm really going to be getting a feel for it. Also, I'm going to possibly be looking at some more autocrosses and track days. So a lot of stuff coming up this season, as well as next year's come, so stay tuned.